in this video, what I'm going to share as well is spice scandalous spice that is not in the series, but it's in the book. Welcome to Unsta's Capsule. My name is Unati and this is my channel, and wamgelekile. I am recording this video. I think this is video number 4. Video number 4. And I just thought, you know what? Let me just create a video just to share my journey. Creating content for YouTube is a lot of work, and it needs patience. It needs amandla. Like Gogo, I'm so exhausted. I don't know. I feel drained just by these videos 3 that I just took, and the first one I didn't like it because I was just not focused. I was all over the place. The video that I wanted to record Kala was one where I was going to give feedback on my comments and views on Outlander episode 1, 2, and 3 season 7. And I don't know because I went to gym today and I also went to a steam room. I don't know whether I've not recovered or need to take a nap. I don't know. But what I do know is that I cannot take a nap because I'm chasing the sun. And the sun today is just not giving. As a result, I'm even using my ring light for more light in my room. I thought about recording outside, but as much as that we've got sun, it's not warm. So this is the best place to do this. So I think maybe let me just do both, yes, in one video. Let me not do a separate video. Yeah, I think let me do that because I kind of feel at the same time creating content for YouTube is a spiritual transfer, because I feel drained, like it's as if something is being sucked out of my energy. Then why do I continue doing it? I continue doing it because at the same time it keeps her busy, and it's a nice busy that I love. Yes, it's annoying when I create something and then when I review it later, I'm not happy with it and I have to redo it again. That is annoying. Yeah, so I'm hoping this one works, because if I have issues with this one, I don't know. And it's Sunday today, so this is the last day for me to create content that I'm going to be using for all loading. Not necessarily this week, but I just told myself, in order for me to keep myself consistent, I have to create 2 videos minimum per weekend. So I think for this weekend, I'm just gonna create just this one and just combine everything if it works. So let us go. So what I wanted to also share these gloves that my daughter made for me. If you don't know, forget about it. If you don't know what this is,
you get it. Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
Right. Okay, so let me go into Outlander. Outlander season 7. I'm feeling underwhelmed. I'm feeling so underwhelmed. No, episode 1 was let me just get my book. Episode 1, A Life Well Lost. That I enjoyed. And also it clarified a few things for me. Oh, forgot something. In this video, what I'm going to share as well is spice scandalous spice that is not in the series, but it's in the book. So that is something to look forward to. So please don't check out now from this video. Please be patient with me. Okay, so A Life Well Lost, episode 1, season 7. We start off from where season 6 ended. Claire has been arrested by the committee of safety, committee of safety, led by Richard Brown, and she has been taken to Wilmington. Now, I don't understand why they took her to Wilmington in the series. In the book, she's taken to New Bern, and New Bern is important because New Bern is where Ferguson and Misali are at. That's where the new paper shop, printing shop is. So I don't know. Maybe it's because they didn't want to involve them because they are absent in episode 1. Anyway, so she's taken there, and we see Jamie and Ian rushing over to Wilmington to rescue her. Claire, when she gets there, first she's held at the jailhouse, and then she's later relocated to the governor's house, and then from the governor's house relocated to the boat, because during that time there's the whole revolution thing. It's starting to simmer, which is very important to note, because I think this is one of the reasons why Tom decided to come up and be Mr. Gallant and be Mr. Hero and be Mr. I want to overshadow Jamie, because I honestly feel that Tom, his whole family is one shady family. From your Alan to Tom, as much as he seems to be a praying man, those are the worst kind, by the way, as far as I'm concerned. They are just evil. Nalomalva, whack. Okay, I'll tell you why. I think Tom comes off to me as a man that is extremely envious and extremely jealous of Jamie. Yes, he is in love with Claire, but I think his love for Claire comes from the fact that he's extremely envious of Jamie. I think, he shares the same energy as Malva, as far as I'm concerned, because Malva went about doing the things that she did because she was envious of the relationship that Jamie has with Claire, and she wanted that for herself, which is the same thing that Tom wants. So I think this whole situation with Claire being charged with killing Malva created an opportunity for Tom to come up as the hero of the story. And I think the reason why he gave himself up as the person that killed Malva, it was to outshow and outdo Uji, first and foremost. I see the love, but the love for me is not the main reason. It was to outdo Uji, and also it was a calculated risk as well. In the series, the time flow of events seems as if everything is happening quickly. In the book, it took a while for Claire to be moved from one place to the next, and for Jamie to find her, and for Tom to take his decision. And I think in that time, Tom realized that everything is chaotic because the revolution is revolutioning. people, the army is preparing for war, and the rebels are doing the thing. So things are just not working how they are supposed to go. So I think he took that decision because he knew that there's a chance that he might not even go to trial. He might not even be hanged. Because another thing that is not mentioned in the series that's in the book, by the time Jamie rescues Claire, or by the time Tom confesses, the jailhouse that Claire was held in, that bent down. That bent down. So it's quite chaotic. So I think that's why I'm saying, but his offer to die for Claire is not as genuine as it comes out as, or comes off as. That's point number one. Point number two about episode 1, season 7. There's a scene that everyone that I'm seeing on the Facebook groups that I'm in, that everyone is going gaga over. Well, it is an impressive scene, impressive acting from what's her name? Is it Katerina or Katrina Balfe, who acts the part Claire. She is overwhelmed in this scene. She cries, and Jamie comes to her rescue, as he does all the time, and he says, no, grieve for them, and then once you're done, I'll be here waiting for you. This scene confused me, I don't want to lie. And at the time of me watching episode 2, I had not read up to that point in this book, because season 7, episode 1 and 2, and a little bit of 3, I think, comes from this book, A Breath of Snow and Ashes. That scene confused me because I couldn't understand, why is Jamie saying Claire should grieve on her own? Why is Claire grieving on her own? Because the theme, or the understanding that is expressed about that scene, is that Claire is overwhelmed due to the fact that she's lost, in a way, Bree and Roger, because Bree and Roger have left for the future, and also who else has left? Oh yes, and also Ferguson and Fergus, no, Fergus and Masali as well have left. So I'm like, it just didn't make sense why she is grieving on her own, until I came to the part in the book that actually explains what that scene is about. I'm just trying to find it so that I can read it to you. But I think, okay, while I look, I think that the reason why she's crying there, she's not crying because she's not overwhelmed because of what the producers or writers are telling us, being that she's crying because of Roger and Bree leaving for the future. It is because she is overwhelmed. I think she's overwhelmed by a lot of things, and I think the gesture that Tom made of actually dying for her honor overwhelmed her more, and maybe she genuinely felt a very strong friendship towards Tom. So I'm going to read from the book that portion just to give you an understanding what Claire was going through in that moment, the reason why she was so overwhelmed, because it was so confusing for me, because the acting is amazing, Masqale up. So it just didn't make sense to me for her to feel so gutted and broken about Jane, about Roger and Bree leaving. And on the other hand, Jamie is like not feeling the same, because both of them have lost something. Bree and Roger have left the both of them, not just Claire. So why is he taking a step back and not grieving with her? I hope I've articulated this clearly. Okay, let me get into it. What is it? Enigian. Oh, this is one of the reasons why I also love reading this book with the audiobook with Davina Porter's narration. There's just some words that I just anyway, let me read. What is it, Enigian? He said softly. He didn't touch me, but lay close. I don't know, I said, close to panic. I keep seeing. I'm sorry, Jamie. I see other people. It's like I'm making love to other men. Oh, he sounded, cautious but not upset. There was a wish of fabric and he drew the sheet up over me. That helped a little, but not much. My heart was pounding hard in my chest. I felt dizzy and couldn't seem to take a full breath. My throat kept closing. I thought quite calmly, do stop. Easier said than done. Easier said than done. But I didn't stop worrying that I was having a heart attack. Jamie's voice was cautious. Who? Hodge Pyle. And no, my stomach clenched in revulsion at the thought. I swallowed. No, I, I, I haven't even thought of that. He lay quietly beside me, breathing. I felt as though I was literally coming apart. Who is it that you see, Claire? He whispered. Can you tell me? Frank, I said, fast before I could change my mind. And Tom and Malva. So that made sense to me when I read that, because that scene, as much as it was impressive in terms of the acting, it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. Anyway, we move. And then they go back. They go back to the farm, and this is where we get an opportunity to meet up with Alan, and Alan actually confesses to Claire that he was having an affair with, well, he doesn't go into specific details to actually say that he's having an affair, but he does confess Ndoba, the baby is his, and he knew what he was doing when he killed her because Malva wanted to confess, wanted to come clean and confess that she lied about claiming that Jamie had made her pregnant. Jamie is the father of the child, and initially Claire wanted Alan to be arrested and to confess to everyone, but Ian overheard the whole conversation and he decided to kill him right there and there. And as much as killing people is not a good thing, I honestly feel that Alan just needed to go. Alan is bad vibes. In fact, that whole family actually is bad vibes, really, to be quite honest. And I also think as well, Tom knew. I think he most probably suspected, because I knew for a fact that he knew that Claire did not kill Malva. But at the same time, did he believe? I think he suspected that Ellen is involved, because I also want to believe, as much as that it's silent in the book, but I also want to believe that he did know about the fact that they were being intimate, Omalva and Ellen, but maybe it's just that he didn't have proof. In the book, he does, when Tom visits Claire to actually tell him of his rescue plan, he does tell her that he knew that Malva was the one who made both him and Claire sick, because he saw residue, or what was left of the potion that Mother had made using the bones of the Sin Eater. The old man that's in the I don't know whether it's a cave. No, it's not a cave. The old man that Mother is seen in the series, where she's chopping off the hands and fingers, that's the Sin Eater. It was not clear to me actually when I watched the series. It's only when I read the book that I actually knew who it was. Okay, then we move to episode 2, The Happiest Place on Earth. Episode 2, slightly underwhelming. Nothing hectic going on there, other than we get confirmation that, other than the fact that we get confirmation that Bree and Roger left for the future, and we have the fire. We see another character coming back in from season 6, Wendigo Donna. Wendigo Donna, I don't understand why he expects everyone to be willing to assist or help him when he did not offer the same to Claire when she needed help from him as a fellow traveler. Because in and in the last episode, season 6, he asks Roger to help him escape because he's been caught by the Redcoats. And Roger's tempted, actually. I think it's only, I'm sure if Roger had traveled alone, he would have done it. He would have assisted Wendigo Donna escape. So we see him in episode 2, season 7, coming back with his friends to rob Fraser's range, because they are looking for gemstones. He wants gemstones because he wants to travel back to the future. And apparently he had tried to, but he was drunk, and I think he did travel, but the same scenario happened for him, similar to what happened to Roger and Bree when they traveled the first time. So I think when you travel, you need to be of clear mind and be focused as to where you want to go. I think that's very important. So anyway, they couldn't find the gemstones, so they were just looking and just going through the cupboards and everything else, looking for the gemstones. And instead of finding the gemstones, they find ether that Claire uses to put people under, and that's where the fire comes in. In the book, Ian is the one who's the trigger, not Wendigo Donna. So I think he dies. Does he die in the book? I'm not sure whether he dies in the book. But anyway, on to episode 3. Episode 3 also was extremely underwhelming as well, but understandably, because nothing much happens really. Because I think the main focus of episode 3 was just to maybe close off the gold issue, because the house does burn down. Claire and Jamie are not harmed by the fire. And also they do find out about the gold that Mr. Bug has is the same gold that Jacosta's husband Cameron didn't necessarily steal. It came late. So what else was he supposed to do with it? Because yeah, so anyway, that was the gold. So they find the gold. And in them finding the gold, prior to them finding the gold, unfortunately, Mrs. Bugs had to die. Ian killed Mrs. Bugs. Initially, he had thought it's Mr. Bugs that he was actually shooting with the arrow, but unfortunately, it was Mrs. Bugs. And shame Ian is gutted. Gutted. I think the portrayal of Ian's reaction and how remorseful he feels over Mr. Bugs is the same energy that is in the book as well. So for that one, I commend the writers and the producers for keeping in line with that scenario. With Roger and Bree being in the future, they find a box is delivered to them from the past. A box containing letters that Jamie and Claire have been writing to Claire over the years, and it also included a pebble. I don't know. It's not called a pebble. What is it? I don't know what it's called, but it's a bullet made out of gold. But I don't think actually Roger recognizes what it is because they've painted it black so that people don't recognize that it's actually gold. Because they do find the gold and then they decide to melt it down into those bullets. Anyway, and that is episode 3. Episode 3 was so underwhelming for me, but as I said, but I'm beginning to appreciate that perhaps one of the reasons why perhaps I am not as excited as I was with the previous seasons is because I know so much. It's because I'm reading the books, so I know what is going to happen. And I think that is going to be a problem, but I don't know how I'm going to work around it because I also want to continue creating content. But I don't want to delay as much as I have. I want to, for instance, what I'm doing right now where I am recording episode recording my comments and observations on episode 1, 2, and 3. I'm not planning to do that moving forward because I want to be up to date. I want to be up to date with what's happening in the series as well as what's happening in the books. So I don't know how I'm going to do it to work around it because I know my feelings of disappointment and being underwhelmed stems from the fact that I know what's coming. There's another channel that I often listen to as well or watch on YouTube by Jennifer Marshall's Book Refuge. She said something interesting in one of her videos where she was complaining about how the show is not keeping in line with the book. And she was specifically referring to Claire's character, and that there are things that Claire is doing in the show that that are not in line with the character that she is in the book. And I found myself asking myself the question of Bahe, am I not doing myself an injustice by reading ahead? Because I kind of understand Jennifer's point, because now she's not enjoying the show as much as she enjoyed the book, because they are not talking to each other, or the changes that the writers are doing perhaps to make the show more is not in line with the book, and that is irritating to some extent. So I don't know. I'm torn because currently I've finished reading A Breath of Snow and Ashes, and now I am reading Drums of Autumn. I know in my previous video I had said I am going to park reading A Breath of Snow and Ashes, but my ADD illness or whatever just could not allow me to start a new book without finishing the other one. So I've actually packed Outlander and I am continuing reading Drums of Autumn. And then only after finishing Drums of Autumn, I am going to go into the next book, which I think the rest of season 7 is going to be based on, which is An Echo in the Bone. Yeah, and I think my comments for episode 1, 2, and 3 end there, because I think my major comment with regards to episode 1, 2, and 3 was Tom Christie, and his reasons for acting the way that he's been acting. Because I think even with him traveling with Claire and Jamie to Wilmington, I think there he was taking another calculated risk as well. He was taking another calculated risk because he was hoping that with the trial, Claire would be found not guilty because there would be no evidence, which I feel is quite a naive thought process, because surely he knew that there's beef between the Frasers and the Browns, and Richard Brown, his intention was to make sure that both Jamie and Claire do not survive this. That's why he had organized for Jamie to be shipped back to Scotland, and I think his intention, even with going to the farm to arrest Claire, it was not to arrest her, but to make sure that she's lynched and killed because of her being a witch that actually killed Malva. So for him to expect a fair trial, I don't know how that made sense to him. But I do get a sense that the reason why he followed them was because he knew Oba Clay did not kill Malva. But at the same time, perhaps he didn't know how to maybe express or fight or without compromising his son. Yeah, but anyway, all right, so on to the spice, on to the tea. The tea is that Duncan Innes, who is married to Jacosta, he was having an affair with Phaedra. What? This one took me by surprise. I never expected it. I never saw it coming. What? So what happens is Phaedra is abducted by Stephen, that bonnet guy. Stephen Bonnet or Bonnet. I think in the series in the show it does come up, but they don't show that. There's a time where Stephen Bonnet kidnaps a Brie again, or kidnaps Brie. The same, that English. Stephen Bonnet kidnaps Brie, and also he kidnaps Phaedra. But in the show, they don't show that. Phaedra writes an SOS to Claire, Uba, please come quick. Claire and Jamie travel to what's the name of the farm? River Rock. They travel to River Rock. When they get there, River Run. When they get there, Nyani, Phaedra has been abducted and kidnapped, and they don't know Uba what happened. But the odd thing in the book is quite clear that Uja Costa is unbothered. She's very calm and unbothered. And the person that is going through the most, because Phaedra has vanished, is Duncan. So okay, there's a part where he's explaining himself to Jamie. So let me read it. Jacosta rose late and breakfasted in his sitting room, attended by Ulysses to make plans for the day. Duncan, who had risen before dawn every day of his life, usually in the expectation of a dry crust or at most a bit of dramage, oatmeal mixed with water, woke now to find a steaming pot of tea beside his bed, accompanied by a bowl of creamy partridge, garnished with honey and cream toast drenched in butter, eggs fried with ham, sometimes a wee fish rolled in cornmeal, crisp and sweet, he added, with mournful reminiscence. Well, that's very seductive, to be sure, Duncan, Jamie said, not without sympathy. A man's vulnerable when he's hungry. He gave me a weary glance, but still. Duncan had been grateful to Phaedra for her kindness, and had, being a man after all, admired her beauty, though in a purely disinterested sort of way, he assured us. To be sure, Jamie said with marked skepticism. What happened? Duncan had dropped the butter, was the answer, while struggling to butter his toast one-handed. Phaedra had hastened to retrieve the pieces of fallen dish, and then hurried to fetch a cloth and wipe the streaks of butter from the floor and then from Duncan's chest. Well, I was in my nightshirt, he murmured, starting to go red again. And she had. His hand rose and made vague motions in the vicinity of his chest, which I took to indicate that Phaedra's bondage had displayed her bosom to particular advantage, while in such close proximity to him. And Jamie prompted ruthlessly, and it happened. Duncan's anatomy had taken note of the fact, a circumstance admitted with such strangulated modesty that we could barely hear him. But I thought you couldn't, I began. Oh, I couldn't, he assured me hastily. Only at night, like dreaming, but not waking, not since I had the accident. Perhaps it was being so early in the morning. My thought I was still asleep. Jamie made a low Scottish noise expressing considerable doubt as to this supposition, but urged Duncan to continue with a certain amount of impatience. Phaedra had taken notice in her turn, it transpired. She was only sorry for me, Duncan said frankly. I could tell as much, but she put her hand on me, soft, so soft, he repeated, almost. He had been sitting on his bed and had gone on sitting there in dumb amazement as she took away the breakfast tray, lifted his nightshirt, climbed on the bed with her skirts neatly tucked above her round brown thighs, and great tenderness and gentleness had welcomed back his manhood. What? When I read this, I was shocked, shooked, floored. I never saw it coming. I never expected it. And then only to find much later on in the book that even Uja Costa Naye, she was busy with Ulysses. I don't understand why they left this out in the show. I don't understand. Maybe Jerry Springer was unavailable. Maybe they needed Jerry Springer to be there as well to unpack this whole scenario. Wow. Anyway, that was that. This video is gonna be long, but again, it's understandable because I'm going as quickly as I can because I can't cover everything. There's more stuff that I wanted to cover, but I just don't want to post long videos at this juncture on my channel. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my analysis, my comments, my views. Please do write your comments or share your own views on what's going on my comments section, and I am open and excited to engage more. Unfortunately, that's why I think posting here or creating these videos is an outlet for me, because unfortunately I'm alone in this love for Outlander. I have not connected with anyone, especially in my town, who enjoys the series, the books as much as I do. So I would really welcome and really enjoy engaging with anyone who is keen on coming up with their own views. Do you understand my point of view when it comes to Tom Christie? Do you see him as clearly as I see him and his intentions? And I would not be surprised if we see Tom coming up, because I don't think he's dead. Unlike that cliffhanger that the show left us at with Richard Brown. Like, we don't know. I don't know, and I can't even. I've been trying to come up with scenarios of what happened. I don't know. My mind refuses to accept or it refuses to accept the what's right in front of my face, actually, that Jamie killed him. And I hate the fact that they didn't show us that, because I think the possibility here is that Jamie killed him. How? I don't know. I don't think he shot him. I think he might have strangled him, I think. But it would be nice, in any case, if they had given us the opportunity to see Jamie in full action. It would have been lovely. But anyway, let me leave you at that, and let me thank you again if you have watched my video up until this point. It is appreciated, and what would be appreciated more is you leaving a comment down and also subscribing and joining the family and joining the experience of enjoying the content that I'm creating for this capsule. Oh, and also please do head on over to my other playlist. I'm not only posting content based on what is on the Outlander series and the show. I also post travel content for the beautiful place that I stay in, which is Iceland, South Africa, the Eastern Cape. So that if you are ever wanting to visit South Africa, especially the Eastern Cape, you can just view my videos and see what offerings we have in terms of activities as well as accommodation spaces that you can book. Anyway, I love you and bye.